Hey everyone, Trace here. Hey everyone, Trace here. Today I'll be making a card based on something that I have found as inspiration. So, you know, as crafters, we find inspiration just about anywhere and unexpected places. And so I have this sweatshirt and it's adorable and it has some snowmen on it, and I've had it a while and I actually wear it often because I'm very chilly all the time, even in the summertime. So I was looking at this, and when this new stamp set came in, I said, oh my goodness, this can be duplicated very easily. So what I'm referring to is this stamp set here, and it is called Sweet Angel. And even though this image is an angel, to me this looks so similar in shape. So I thought, yes, I can make that into a snowman as well as an angel. An angel is beautiful, but I'm going to go for a snowman. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp out a bunch of images, and you can kind of see where I have a lot of images here, and these are the stamp sets that I used. So the Sweet Angel, as I said, and Happy Tree, and I used the tiny smiley face that's right here, and it happens to be perfect, and it fits very nicely in the head there. And let me see if I used anything else. Yes, I used the pipe right here, and I stamped those out here, and I'm going to use one of them on the snowman, on one of the snowmen. And so, and also No Doubt, and I've used a couple of things. I'm using this here for the background and a couple of smaller ones. And as you can see here, I have some buttons, and those are actually the snowflakes from here. I used the larger one here and a little bit of smaller one here, and they stamp out, you know, with a circle. So all I did was with a pen just darken those in. So I used the smaller one for a girl and the larger one for the boys. And so that's right there. Then I used G's Teddy Bear Lane, and I'm using the top hat and the scarf. And I think that's all I used for that one, yes. And Taters, the stamp set, is perfect. These little arms right here for the left and the right. And I'm also using the bow right here for the girl. And so I stamped out all the images ahead of time, and I colored them with the watercolor pencils by Nouveau. These are so fantastic. And so you can see I added the arms with the mittens and stamped out a bunch of things. I'm going to cut those out. One is going to have a bow on her head, and one will have the top hat, one will have a Santa hat, and one will probably have the pipe there, several with some scarves. So I'm excited about that. To fussy cut those, I'm going to use some Cutter Bee scissors, and I stamped those images with VersaFine ink. And I'm also going to do the background snowflakes with some broken china, and it just happens to match so well with this paper right here. And this is just Recollections paper in blue. I used a souffle gel pen for a carrot nose for all of them, and a little water brush because of the watercolor pencils, and this little black marker just to mark some things in. And I think I'm going to use a little wink of Stella at the end just to shine things out, make some elements sparkle. Of course, we need some sparkle. Okay, I believe that is all the items you'll need. Let's get started. So I went ahead and cut all of my elements here, all of the hat and scarf and the snowmen. I cut all that around really closely, and some parts were a little more difficult because they're just really thin and really small, but I like it. It's fun. I love fussy cutting. So all of my elements are ready. I went ahead and stamped some background for my card front, and I used the stamp set here. And so this stamp has all of the snowflakes here, so I just went ahead and went across the page, and I added some more with this stamp here. And after I put everything down, I'm going to add some more small little dots here and there, just to kind of where it's concentrated up here and then just goes a little less and less down the page. And I'll show you that after I go along. But I think I'm going to add everything on there first and then add some more snowflakes. So I'm also going to add some snowdrifts, and I used the die set here from My Favorite Things. This is Stitched Snowdrifts, and I went ahead and cut out some drifts, some snowdrifts. I'm going to have two little hills. And so what I'm going to do is I put a little notch with a pencil kind of where the two places I wanted to stop here and stop here. So I'm going to glue down this area right here. Then I'm going to flip it over and cut off any excess. So that'll be my first snowdrift. So I'll do that and be right back. So I'm changing gears just a tad, and you know how it is when you're making a card and it just kind of evolves into something else and something else. And I'm loving the way it's coming out, but I wanted to put my sentiment on the card as well. So I was going to put on white paper, and I have all the snowflakes on there that I really like. And so I decided, my sentiment will be about here. And so I decided to use some vellum, so that way you would see through it and see the snowflakes. So I changed gears a bit, and I found this sentiment that I want to use from the stamp set Beautiful, and it's the Warmest Wishes stamp here. So I'm going to stamp that on some vellum with some Versamark, and I'll go ahead and quickly do that. And so here is my stamp. And so I'm going to ink down into that Versamark, making sure it's nice and inked up. And about here or so, I'm going to stamp it. And it did have a little bit of black ink on that stamp, but I'm sure that won't affect it. And I have a heat tool here from Stampability, and I'm going to use that, but I am also going to use the Nouveau embossing powder, and I'm going to shake that on there, tap it down, and I'm using the Glacier White. Just leave that. Then I am tapping that back down onto the jar so I don't waste any of that powder. Now I'm going to heat that up. Bring that back just in case. I notice sometimes that if I use the heating tool, it gets on the mat and it actually fuses onto the mat. So I'm going to avoid that mistake. And I'm going to let this heat up just a tad. And as you heat that up, you make sure that you keep it going and moving. And before you know it, it'll be glossy and shiny. If you use, there it goes. I love to heat emboss. It's so fun. Okay, so it looks like it is ready to go. There, now I'm set to continue where I left off. So I'm gonna fussy cut that out. Okay, so where I had left off was the snow drifts here. So I want to add the second snow drift, and it is right here. So I also did a little couple of mistakes. I've got some ink on some spots, so I kind of positioning it to where those spots hopefully won't be seen. About right there and right here. I made some little notches on the side so I know where I want to place it. And I think I'm going to, yeah, and I have a mistake here too, which this snowdrift will cover it up. So we're always kind of thinking of how to fix mistakes that we happen to stumble upon. So that looks about right where I want it. So I'm going to glue that down, putting the glue just about in between my notches here, because that won't be, I don't need glue all around. And about right there. Let's go up a little bit higher. That looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to just cut that off, and I'm going to start to assemble the snowman. So the snowdrifts are ready, and this is about where I want the snowman to live. So I'm going to glue them down, kind of just tuck right into that snow. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue and tuck that underneath. It's about where I want him. And I didn't pop up the snowman, but I am going to pop up some of the elements, the hats mostly. And so I'm going to glue this one. This is the girl. Just a few dots will be all I need. And that tucks right in there. So cute. And one more, and this one I'm going to have his arm just coming out a little bit from the edge. I think that gives it a little bit of dimension almost, because it kind of makes it stick out some. There we go. Just get that right in there. Any excess glue I just take off with my fingers there. All right, now I am able to add all of the elements and decorate it. That's the definite fun part. So this is the girl, and I added some 3D foam squares, and I cut one in half in order to get, you know, adequate coverage behind there for the girl's bow. So I'll just take off these back paper, very tiny. So I'm going to put that little angle That is so cute. I love this part. This is so much fun to me. This one I'm just going to add right down, and I added a little bit of polka dots to that in her mittens. So add just a little bit of dots, glue. That may be a little too much. Let's see, it probably come out a little bit. Oh my gosh, so cute. Let's position this a little bit. Luckily with foam, if you don't like where it is, you can usually pull it up just a little. I'm going to just get that a little closer to her head. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to dress the rest of them and be right back. I'm going to add some more snowflakes kind of cascading down to the bottom here. So this is the largest snowflake circle. I'm going to, since the snowmen are already on there, I'm just going to add some more here and there just to fill in some gaps. Not too many, because I want less towards the bottom. And more towards the top. Okay, then I'm going to just add the smallest one. Again, just kind of randomly filling in some spots. That looks good. Okay, that will do all of those. Then one of the last things that I want to do is add my sentiment here. When you're gluing down your sentiment, which is on vellum, you want to add the glue to the biggest parts of the sentiment or whatever you have on there, because the glue will show through the vellum if it's not hidden behind something else. So I'm just adding some glue, very small amounts, in spots that have a large part. And I don't need that much because vellum, you know, is very thin and it just doesn't take that much. It's a little too much there. And that's probably enough. Maybe just a dab here. So I really don't want that to show. So I'm going to just add that right about here. Great, that came out awesome. So then all I have to do is add that to the card base, and I will be right back. So that finishes off this card, and it was extremely fun to put together and paper piece all of the elements, the hats, the gloves, the scarf, and I really hope you give it a try. And don't forget to subscribe and like and ring the bell, and I appreciate all that you do for me. Until next time, thank you so much. Have a great day.